Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir al-Qur'an wa the Juz, the Quran, its spells. In our reading from Surah Hud, we have reached verse 61, and the next selection, Imam Al-Ghazali's selection, begins with 84 to 87. Between 61 to 84, we have a little bit more than 20 verses. My understanding, based on the story that we have here, is that, for example, the story of Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, his people really, the reason why his people were punished, it seemed that, of course, it cannot be the case. It was not really a widespread phenomenon probably anywhere in the world, the problem of sexuality. But let's look at the themes of the stories that we have in these 20 verses. The first one is verses 69 to 73, even a little bit more, and when we talk about the people of Lut. Remember that, alayhi salam, both of them, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, they were saved, rescued. They were directed to the blessed land, to the holy land. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَلُوطًا إِلَى الْأَرْضِ الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا لِلْعَالَمِينَ. This is really an inclusive narrative. It doesn't mean that anyone can come and claim rights to this land. It wasn't, will continue, inshallah, to be an Islamic land. The story here is that the angels, of course, in anthropomorphic form, passed by Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. They greeted him, he greeted them, and almost in no time he brought them a roasted calf. But then when he saw that their hands do not reach out to the roast, he was afraid, because if you don't share a meal, then you have ill intentions, bad intentions, you're harboring something. This is why we say those who break bread, share a meal together. But they comforted him, they assured him, they asked him not to be afraid, that they were on their way to the people of Lut alayhi salam. Sayyidina Sarah alayhi salam, ومرأته, the wife of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, she was standing and she laughed, and they brought the good omen. They told her that she will become pregnant with Ishaq, Isaac, Sayyidina Ishaq alayhi salam. And after Sayyidina Ishaq will have a child of his own, so whose name is Yaqub, Jacob. She exclaimed, how could I give birth, and I'm an old woman, and my husband is an old man, and this is okay. But you don't really. This is a divine decree, and they blessed this family, saying that the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His blessings are upon upon you, upon the people of that household. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh alaykum ahl al-bayt. Inna hamid majid. Inna hamid majid. Now, I just want to highlight the why I like this phrase. فبشرنا بإسحاق ووراء إسحاق يعقوب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed there will be a child whose name is Ishaq. Ishaq will have a child of his own whose name is Yaqub, Jacob. Which means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decrees that Ishaq will become of age, will become a man, he will get married, and he will have a child. Why is this important? Because Ishaq alayhi salam cannot be the child, the son with whom Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam was tested. Al-Dhabih, the sacrifice. In the Qur'an, the name of the child is not mentioned. In the Torah, the name of the child is Isaac. In the Torah, also, it says that the Ismail alayhi salam was born when Ibrahim alayhi salam was 86 years old. Isaac was born when Abraham was 100 years old. For 14 years, the only child was Ishmael. This is why when the Torah asks Ibrahim alayhi salam to offer his only son Isaac, there is a contradiction. Isaac cannot be the only son. This is why the rabbis tried to get rid of this tension, this contradiction between Isaac and only son, Yahidcha. Yahidcha is your only son. So the rabbis are aware of this tension. They are aware of this. They created a post-revelational dialogue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Ibrahim alayhi salam to offer his only son. He responds by saying each one of them is this only son of his mother, which is true, but that's of course not the. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the one that you love, he says, I love both. Then ultimately it comes bluntly, it's Isaac. No. And also the rabbis toyed with the etymology of the word Yahidcha. Yahidcha is your only. And rather remaining your only, it was interpreted to be your special child, miyuhad. But still the text is there, your only son, Isaac doesn't. So the biblical text, once more, it's not reliable from that perspective. So that's about the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Of course, when he realized what will happen, he argued about the people of Lut alayhi salam. He argued them. He did not want them to be punished because of the existence of believers. And he told them إن فيها لوطا قال نحن أعلم بمن فيها نجينه وأهله إلا امرأته. That verse. Again, Imam Ghazali did not highlight this as one of these pairs, did not selection, because it was not really a widespread phenomenon. Today it's all over the the West, and in one or two countries in Africa that they prohibit um, homosexuality. They make it in the West they try to deprive them of international aid. They try to put pressure on them, etc. So when those angels came to Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, those homosexual men amongst his people came very quickly. They were the first in the Quran. They were the first to perform homosexual acts in the history of humanity. Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam offered his daughters. They are pure, and of course, the meaning is that he offered his daughters in marriage, and they told him. He told him that we have no interest in your daughters, and you know what we need. You know what we want. He knows them, of course, and this is why he said, "لو لو أنا لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد." So the angels assured Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam that they will not reach him, and they told him to leave that night, and that no one of them will look back except that his wife, she's included amongst those who will be punished, and their general punishment that will hit them was set at dawn, and dawn is very, very close. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turned the cities upside down and rained down on them clustered stones of baked clay. They turned the cities upside down. Marked by your Lord, these stones. And these stones are not far from the pagan wrongdoers, meaning that later on. Verse 84, so talk about the selection, 84 to 87. And to the people of Midian, we sent their brother Shu'aib. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no God other than Him. وإلى مدين أخاهم شعيبا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره ولا تنقصوا المكيال والميزان إني أراكم بخير وإني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم محيط. You have no God other than Him, so worship only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And do not give short measure and weight. I do see you in prosperity now, but I truly fear for you the torment of an overwhelming day. So, Tawheed, which is obvious in asking to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there is no other God worthy of worship. And along with the theological message, there was a message about the wrongdoing that was obviously widespread amongst them, a social ill, though it's really about economics, but it's a social ill. They cheat in measurements and weights. This is why practically every country, every city will have a department that is responsible for the measurements and weights. They go to stores, they check whether the balances, the weights are they are right, that there is no cheating. And today, when we talk about the social, still related to economics, um, what's the social ill? What do we have? Is it the usury? Is it the homosexuality? Is it gambling? Is it drugs? Is it all these unhealthy things that people consume? They are targeted. Um, Cancerous additives, and you'll have a halal stamp on the food. O my people, give full measure and weight with justice. Do not defraud people of their property, nor go about spreading corruption in the land. ويا قوم أوفوا المكيال والميزان بالقسط ولا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. بقية الله خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ. What is left as a lawful gain by Allah is far better for you if you are truly believers. And I'm not a keeper over you. A lawful gain is much better than unlawful. A lawful gain, even if it's little, is much better than unlawful gain, even when it's too much. So they said, Ya Shu'aib, أصلاتك تأمرك أن نترك ما يعبد آباؤنا أو أن نفعل في أموال ما نشاء إنك لأنت الحليم الرشيد. They asked sarcastically, of course. They asked, O Shu'aib, does your prayer command you that we should abandon what our forefathers worshipped or give up managing our wealth as we please? Indeed, you are such a tolerant, sensible man. But they are sarcastic. They are sarcastic. So they would like to manage their wealth, even if it really breaks the law, even if it violates the law, the Sharia. And that's the case today. The elite, the oligarchs, they change the laws. They don't pay taxes. I'm talking about the new oligarchs. People, when they think it's a long story, but democracy means they choose from amongst the oligarchs, and the oligarchs will basically create laws in their own favors. They don't pay. The billionaires do not pay. Only the poor, maybe the middle class, of course, but not the billionaires. They create the law. Though it's not verse 88 is not included in selection, we will end with it. He said, O my people, consider if I stand on a clear proof from my Lord, and He has blessed me with a good provision from Him. I do not want to do what I am forbidding you from. So you walk the talk. I only intend reform to the best of my ability. My success comes only through Allah. In Him I trust, and to Him I turn. قال يا قوم قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي ورزقني منه رزقا حسنا وما أريد أن أخالفكم إلى ما أنهاكم عنه إن أريد إلا الإصلاح ما استطعت وما توفيقي إلا بالله عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. These words, as we say in Arabic, تكتب بماء الذهب. They should be engraved in gold, in the sense of anyone who would like to advocate the good and prohibit evil. It's always to the best of your ability, and the success in that and fulfilling that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, inshallah, we also uh, do the same. In Him I trust and to Him I turn. عليه توكلت وإليه أنيب. With this, inshallah, we end the session. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.